Hello, fifth graders. So for your lesson today, I wanted to do this outside with the actual garden that my husband and I have been putting together, but since it is raining off and on today, we're gonna have to do this lesson inside. I am on day 4 of your packet and part of week 2, so this is the last day of math before you're ready to turn it in. And we are talking today about perimeter and area of a rectangle. We're not gonna deal with any other shapes but a rectangle. And we're going to talk about the formulas for perimeter and area, and we're going to talk about what they mean. But I think it's the easiest to think about it whenever I am thinking about a garden. I think perimeter and area make perfect sense whenever I'm thinking about a garden, and I'm going to show you guys why. So here in our dining room, we have been getting ready to plant our garden, but since it's been still getting cold outside at night, we have been putting our watermelon, jalapeno, and sunflower seeds inside here in the house and letting them grow before we actually plant them. Now, as you can see, not all of them were successful in sprouting and germinating, but that's okay. We did more because we knew that not all of them would. But what I want us to do is we're going to focus on this top section here for today. And if you notice the way that my husband and I have lined up these cups, it's almost like an array. And we can think of an array whenever we're doing multiplication. It gives us columns which go up and down and rows which go from side to side. Now, I want you guys to pretend that this is a garden. And we're going to use this rectangle, and I know it's a rectangle because I know that this side is longer than this side because there are 5 cups here and 3 cups here. And we're gonna think of each of these cups as 1 foot. So I want you guys to think about there being 5 cups here, so this is 5 feet long. And I want you guys to think about there being 3 cups on the side or the width, so that's gonna be 3 feet long. So take a look at this array. And now I want to show you guys a little bit more about perimeter and area. So whenever we talk about perimeter, we're talking about the outside of an object. So if I were to measure this black rectangle, I would want to be measuring the outside of it going along all 4 sides. However, the area of an object is talking about the inside part. It's talking about how many square units. We can think of it as little units like this, fit inside of that rectangle. So once again, perimeter is on the outside, area is on the inside. Do not get those confused. It's probably one of the most common mistakes. And the way I like to think about it is like a garden. So think about this black rectangle being the garden that we have outside that my husband and I are wanting to plant. Now, before we plant, we have dogs. So we have to make sure that this garden has some fencing or some netting around it so that the dogs and other animals don't get inside of it. Well, in order to find that out, we're not going to solve how many feet fit inside of that area. We want to know how many feet can go along all 4 sides of our rectangle for our garden, because we're going to want the fencing or the netting to go around the outside of it. So to solve that, we're going to use perimeter. However, we would use area whenever we're trying to decide how many plants we can fit inside of our garden if they need to be a certain amount apart. So the area on the inside is going to tell us how many rows and columns we can plant and how many square feet can fit inside of that. So I want us to, now that we kind of have an idea, perimeter is around the outside, area is on the inside, I want us to use numbers from our inside garden to calculate the perimeter and area of what we have on this shelf right here. Now reminder, I said I want you to think of each of these cups as feet. So if we have 5 cups as the length of our rectangle, then we are going to label our mini garden as 5 feet long, because each of those cups I want you to think about as a foot. So it's going to be 5 feet long. And if it's 5 feet long at the top, it's also going to be 5 feet long at the bottom. We know with a rectangle, it's going to have the same length and the same width. If not, it wouldn't look like a rectangle, it'd be some funky object. Now let's decide how many feet our width is worth if each of these cups is 1 foot. So I count 1, 2, 3, as our width on this side and on this side. So our width in this problem is going to be 3 feet. Same on the other side, 3 feet. So we have a garden that is 5 foot by 3 feet wide. So 5 feet long, 3 feet wide. And in order to solve the perimeter for this is how we are going to do it. The formula for perimeter is length plus length, and I'm just putting L's to represent length, plus width plus width. And you don't have to memorize that formula because it's pretty easy to understand. If we were trying to find out how much fencing to put around our garden, we're going to need 5 feet of fencing to get to this point, 3 feet of fencing to get to this point, another 5 feet to come over here, and then we can't just leave this side open, so another 3 feet to get over here. So to find out how much fence we need in total, we are going to add all of those feet together, just like the formula tells us. Length plus width plus length plus width. So that would be 5 plus 3, and I know you guys know what that is. I got 8 as well. And another 5 plus 3, which should give you another 8. And then we need to combine those 8s together. So 8 plus 8 is going to give us a total answer of 16 feet. So in order for us to get fencing or netting around our entire mini garden, we would need 16 feet of fencing to go this way, this way, this way, and this way. However, that does not mean that 16 feet are necessarily going to be our area. We now want to solve how much can be on the inside, or how many plants we can fit on the inside. The shortcut formula for area is length times width. That is the shortcut way of finding area. So if we were to do that, here is our length of 5 feet. Here is our width of 3 feet. If we were to multiply those together, 5 times 3, think about it, is going to give you 15. And we say square feet for area. We add that square part because it's telling us how many little squares can fit inside of the area of that shape. Now, if you don't believe me that 15 is right, let's go back to our model and let's see how many of these cups can fit inside of the shape. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So we were right. There are 15 plants that can fit inside of this rectangle garden, and we found that out by multiplying the length and the width. It told us how many square feet would be on the inside of our shape. And like I said, perimeter and area are not always the same. Sometimes they will be. If you notice, they were really close today. The perimeter was 16 feet and the area was 15, but it's important to calculate them separately because they more likely than not will be different answers. Hopefully this was helpful. You have a couple to try in your packet. I want you guys to label them just like we did. And remember that perimeter is adding up all of the feet on the outside, and area is getting the inside by multiplying length times width.